the most important thing. It's why the seller needs to sell. That is what we call a life event. They have to sell.
This is what I can do. Are you familiar with the techniques I use to sell properly?
Sorry, this is rancid shit that they're hearing. It's the easiest thing for you to do. You're opening doors, showing buyers property. There's not a lot of skill in that. I want this, when in reality it's here, but they just want to test it and see if they can get that. That is a hard no for me. This is awesome.
Hi, I'm Kathleen Metcalf, and I'm here as a part of Elite Builders, Daniel Mesrobian from Hoboken, New Jersey. Thank you, Daniel, for being here.
My pleasure.
So what do you see as the challenges that are happening for agents in today's market?
A little bit about me. I've been in this industry since 1999 on the mortgage side first, converted over to the real estate side in 2009. So I've seen the downturn of the market, then the up, and then COVID. So, and then post-COVID, which is an immensely challenging time right now. Transactions right now are down 6.5 to 3.9. Huge number. So when you have that shrink in transactions, what becomes more valuable is your conversion rates. Because the leads that you do get, they're eminently more valuable now because there's so few of them. And what I'm finding agents' challenges is when they get those leads, their conversion rates might not be where they want them to be.
Over the last few years, agents may have become more dependent on how they receive leads.
What we know to be true is if you only have one or two lead sources, it's like a bottleneck in your business. I like to have 5 to 6 at one time between expireds for sell by owners, circle of influence, past clients, probates, and then third-party referrals. That's 5 or 6 right there.
Yes.
And then there's other, methods you could use too. If one is light, you can turn to another. If another's light, you can go to another.
Yes.
But what I'm noticing is when COVID was, in 2020, 2021, even in the early beginning of 22, because the market was so active and so it was with such fever, I'm noticing that agents kind of sat a little bit on their laurels and just thought the market was going to continue to just feed them in that manner. And we know that that's not going to happen. Yes.
So there are some changes that have happened and are about to happen, right? We have an 11-month grace period at the time of this recording.
Yes.
Where how leads are distributed is evolving.
So what's going to happen with these lead sources is instead of a third-party referral service distributing one lead to everybody, which I take part in, by the way, now it only goes 1-to-1. Let's say they send it to me. I'm the only one that's getting that lead. If somebody's searching to sell their home, well, what's going to happen to that lead now? It's going to become eminently more expensive because it's only 1-to-1.
Yes.
So the rip that they're going to take, that third-party referral, that company, the rip they take on that might even be close to 50%. We don't know, but we know that what it is right now, which is standard 30, 35%, that's out the window. We know it's going to be much higher.
So we know that expense is going to change. And
yes.
we learned a context together over the last couple of days, right, from Aaron Novello at the Do More Deals Summit, that we can either learn to live in the jungle or we can live at the zoo.
Yes.
Is there a tool, let's start there, that you see that makes a difference in agents' lives if they are going to capture that lead, make sure they do their lead follow-up, and keep track of making sure they nurture that lead?
I'll tackle the first part of that question, which is, yes, these companies are going to require you. They're going to be all over you from the minute you get that lead until the second that lead either gets converted or doesn't. And the conversion rate that you have with getting one lead, if these companies notice you're not converting them, you're not going to get them. So this ties into the second part of that question, which is skill building. I run a role play group every morning, 7:30 to 8 o'clock, where we give you scripts to know, so you know what to say, how to say it, but most importantly, how to say it with confidence. So when you're on the phone with these leads, these sellers that are looking to sell their home, you know what questions to ask, pointed, direct questions to ask them to find out if they're ready, willing, and able to sign a listing agreement. All parties are there at the listing when you present. Their motivation, equity in the home, because if there's no equity, there really isn't going to be a sale. things of that nature. So you're going to know exactly what to say to them and what questions to ask them. So number one, we know if we can work with them. But number two, and more importantly, we're able to serve them at the highest level possible because we're not just here to sell a property. This is here for relationship building.
Yeah, nice.
This is probably the seller's biggest asset that they own. So who they work with, how they trust you, if they trust you, is probably the most important thing for me as an agent.
You and I also learned over the last couple of days together
Yes.
that there are lots of different ways in which agents can help different sellers depending on their situation.
There are many parts to that question, and I'm going to tackle one at a time. So the first thing is what you were talking about before, which is a seller's motivation. That is the most important thing you can find with any real estate transaction. That's the most important thing. It isn't getting the property sold. It's why the seller needs to sell. So when you dig to these pointed questions that we train you,
right?
We train you on this to understand what is in a seller's mind as to what their problem is, why they need to sell. So if you ask a seller when you're on the phone with them and it's, hey, was there a particular reason you were looking to sell the property in the first place? Yes, I need to move to Florida. That is not the motivation. Dig a little deeper. Tell me about that. What's important about moving to Florida? Well, my in-laws are there. Yep. Okay, not it yet. Dig a little deeper. Well, what's important about being down there for your in-laws? Well, they're aging and we think that we're going to need to put my mother-in-law into assisted living. That's the motivation. That's why they're going. It's not that they need to get there. It's not that their in-laws live there. It's that this is a life event that's going to happen. They're putting an in-law into assisted living. That is what we call a life event. They have to sell. So that is imperative for you to get to that. And I would keep digging. For me personally, I keep asking, tell me about that. What is important about that? How is that going to change your life and the life of your family to actually be able to be down in Florida? Is there anything else that's important about the move? Is there anything else important about the move? Until they say no, I will continue to ask more questions to dig. Because the more you have, the better you can serve them, you can help them. And this is how you relationship build.
I love to listen to Daniel do his role play and do his script practice because it shows the level of confidence and I would even say comfort of being able to pointedly ask very direct questions in a way that is not invasive, is not rude or pushy or any of the things that agents may fear about having script, but that it really comes from the heartfelt intention of what is this person's story? What do they need? And how can the agent really be able to get at the heart of the situation, at the heart of the problem?
All of these questions that we ask them, it's in service of them. Most of the agents that are out there are going to be calling these clients and telling them, I can sell your property. I'm doing this. This is what I can do. Are you familiar with the techniques I use to sell property? It's insane. And when you're talking to an expired who's been on the market 6 months, this is rancid shit that they're hearing because their property was literally listed for 6 months and it didn't sell. And now you're calling them on day 181 and telling them that you can sell it. It's crazy to me. Why don't you just find out and ask what's important to them about the move? Why are you trying to get from point A to point B? Selling the property isn't about me.
Right.
It is all about them. One of the things that I say is, listen, whether it's now or later, at least you've met with the top agent in your area. You'll have all the information you need so you can make the best decision you can for yourself and your family. Does that sound fair to you? That, my friends, is 8 U's. There are no I's in that at all. 8 U's. It is not about me. It's about them. Now, to the second part, you mentioned different ways that we can serve clients. So what I like to do is when we have a listing or someone who's interested in selling, there are multiple ways that you can help them. The first thing that I like to figure out is, number one, can I buy it? Property. Okay. Can I buy it? Okay. Then the second thing is if I can't, will the seller finance it for me? Third way is, can I wholesale it? find somebody, take an assignment fee, have a buyer lined up, list it, and then sell it to the buyer, but do a wholesale, not on the open market, but just wholesale it. And then the fourth is if I have to list it, do I have a buyer for it so I can do both sides of the deal? So serve the buyer and the seller for that one property. The fifth way is if you can't do any of those four, you just list it and help the seller that way. But every way of those five, I'm helping the seller at that point. So there's different ways you can do this as far as, creating wealth for yourself, but also serving the seller at the same time. It's all in service of the seller.
As the market continues to evolve, these options that Daniel is talking about become part of the tools, the options that hold the real estate agent who is skilled and who has a tremendous network that we have connections for to then be able to have you really be a real estate professional, a real estate consultant, in addition to a real estate agent or a broker, whatever your license status might be, but really being able to be a professional that has a variety of ways to solve problems and bring solutions to clients in a variety of economic levels.
All the leverage is on the listing side. So do most agents start to work with buyers when they come out of the gate? Yes. Why? Is because it's the easiest thing for you to do. You're opening doors and showing buyers property. Right. So I'll say this, there's not a lot of skill in that. Skills are being able to know what to say, how to say it to a seller so you enlist their property. Now what happens? All the buyers come to you. So all the leverage is on the listing side. That is why very early on when I started working with Aaron, and Aaron and I were working one-on-one, he said, what do you want? I was flipping property at the time. And he said, well, that's not sustainable. We just know that to be true, which is true. It's come and go. He said, do you want to be a listing agent? Or do you want to work with buyers? And I said, I don't know. And he said, well, this is the listing side. This is the buyer side. All the leverage is here. You're going to need to really skill up to understand how to do this. And I was like, I love a challenge. So I said, I want to do that.
Yes.
And for probably 3 years, I was writing out the listing presentation. I was writing out pre-qual. I role played twice a week for 5 days a week. And then I came in contact with a very good friend who's in Florida, power agent, Chris Camacho. What's up, Chris? Talking to you, brother. Chris and I started role playing objections 7:10 to 7:30 for like 2 years. So now I'm role playing 3 times a day, 7:10, 7:30, 11:30, because 11:30 is the listing presentation role play, 5 days a week. And I'm writing it out every day for like 90 days. So now the listing presentation is literally like ingrained in if somebody walked by and was like, hey, I want to list my property, I can be like, oh, just want to begin our time together today by saying thank you for providing me the opportunity to share some information with you, help with the sale of your home. Does that sound good? Yeah, great. Oh, I can do it off the top of my head. It's here. Yeah. All it takes is practice. Why do you think Kobe Bryant has failed so many times? Because he takes all of the shots, but he practices when everybody else is not. That's all I did. I watched what Aaron did. He said, stop doing this, do this, and this will happen. And he was 100% right. I started practicing. I wrote it out. I role played all those days. Now I can just sit and do that presentation off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And I can go up against all the top power agents, and sometimes I win, sometimes I don't. I'm not going to win every one. Nobody bats 1,000. But at least I'm in competition with them. And I'm not intimidated by them either. And everybody that's listening to this, you won't be either. You can have that skill level. So you walk into a listing appointment, whether it's 200,000 or 2 million or 20 million, it doesn't matter. You have the skills in here and in here, in your heart and in your soul, that it doesn't matter. I'm going to give it my best. And if I walk out of there with it and the seller connects with me, then that's great. If it's not, that's okay.
The market will keep evolving, right? Yes. So I came into the market in 2002 and the market was hot. Very similar to COVID, except I don't think interest rates were quite as low.
I want everybody that's listening to understand this. Guys, rates are not going anywhere, at least for the next year. I want everyone to just like conceptualize this. Almost 1/5 of the money that is printed, that is in my wallet and in your wallet, almost 1/5 of that, okay, almost 20% has been printed in the last 3 to 4 years. Okay. That is an enormous amount of money right now in circulation.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yes. There is no way interest rates are going to come down points, 1 point, 2 point. It's impossible because there's too much money in circulation for that to happen. And the second reason is inflation still high? I do not care what your leaders are telling you about inflation. It is false. They don't include housing. They don't include transportation when they make those numbers. My personal belief is they don't, is because what that does is it keeps the cost of living increases for people that are on pensions. It keeps those numbers low. So when they have to increase a pension number, they can keep that cost of living increase low. The second thing I wanted to share with you is I think the prime rate right now is like 7.5. That's what you get. Those are the rates that like you'll get on home equity lines of credit, credit cards, student loans, car notes, things of that nature. What you would want to follow if you're looking to see, all right, where are interest rates going, is the 30-year note. Okay. If you just look at the 30-year note and the 10-year note, okay, the 10-year treasury note, wherever you see those indexes going, that's where your interest rates are going. So right now they're high, and your rates right now, I think you can get a 30-year, 20% down, FICO over 750 or 730, I think it is now with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac guidelines, and decent assets, you're going to get like 6.5. That is your average interest rate over the last 100 years of the United States real estate market. But people, because we've gotten conditioned in the last 3 years, between COVID started to when it ended,
Right.
you had rates 2.5, 3.5%. You will not see those rates in your lifetime again. It's impossible. And I'm a Gen Xer, so by the time I'm not here, you're not going to see rates there. They may come down in, let's say, 3 to 5 years to 5, maybe, but the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s are gone. So, but the issue is people still think that they're going to come down there, and I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait, and I'm going to wait. 6 out of 10 people that have a mortgage right now have a rate that's 2 to 3 points lower than prevailing rate, which is 6.5.
Yeah.
That's a monster number. So the incentive for somebody to sell isn't there where it was before. So that's where skills come in. We just talked about it.
Yes.
When you have to find sellers that they have what we call life events. Maybe they're getting divorced. Maybe they had a passing in the family. They're having a baby and they only have a 1-bed and this family's expanding. That is a life event. They have to buy. Yeah, they're getting married. Maybe they're getting a job relocation.
Right.
These are all things that, as listing agents, when we go out into the market, these are the questions. You have to know how to ask these questions to find those motivated sellers. And that's what we train you here at the EBs, man. This is what we do. We train you to understand and know what to say and how to say it to these people to find out if they're a motivated seller. Because somebody who I find and I call and they say, well, I just want to see what I can get for my property. Come over and list it. I want this, when in reality it's here, but they just want to test it and see if they can get that. That is a hard no for me. I will not list that property because they're not motivated.
Right. And the amount of time that it takes to then list the property, launch the property, manage that listing, have it not sell, have to give feedback, then have to do a price reduction because then now they're unhappy because they can't get what they want, to then have it potentially expire.
Yes.
That is a lot of time, energy, and effort.
And money. Yes.
What are some of the factors that agents should consider in deciding what brokerage they're with or what leadership they're with?
That is a powerful question. And I'm imagining one that a lot of agents don't get guidance on when they come out of real estate school. I didn't. The brokerage that I went to when I got out, I was acting and doing like print work in the mid 2000s and late 2000s. I ran into an agent on an overnight shoot in a courthouse in Queens, New York. Jeff, what's going on, brother? I know you know. And he's like, we start talking. And it was like 3 a.m. because the courthouse is closed at 3 a.m. It's not closed during the day. That's why we had to do it at that time. And he finds out I'm in his market. And he says, how do you not have your real estate license? You're an actor. And I was like, I don't know. So I ended up getting it. And I went to his brokerage because I knew him.
Right.
Instead of, let me figure out what brokerage offers training, agents and brokers that are doing high volume, they are skilled, and can offer me something maybe more than just the production. Because with production, if you're with a brokerage that just does production, you're as good as your next deal. That's the only compensation you're going to get at the end of the year. Let's say you did 30 deals or 50 deals at the end of the year and December 31st comes. You have to look in the mirror and be like, I got to do that again next year. There's no other ancillary income coming in out of all of those deals you've done. You have one source of income. So one thing I learned long ago, Aaron, love you, brother. 1 is none and 2 is 1. And I use that and say, let's say you have a job interview and it's at 8 in the morning and your alarm clock, power goes out. And the alarm clock goes, the power goes out in the alarm clock. Now you don't get up for your interview because power went out. The alarm didn't go off.
Yeah.
But you only had one way to get up. But if you had 2 ways, maybe you put an alarm on your phone, the power went out, but that still goes off. So you still if you only have one lead source, one way to make money, that's none. Because if that dries up, now you have none. But if you have 2 or more, now when one dries, you still have the others to go. When you're looking at a brokerage, what I like to look at is number 1, who's at the top. Okay. So what the broker or top agents, what are they producing? Are they producing high income, high outcomes? Are they skilled? And do they look at me as competition in that brokerage?
Oh, I love
Or
that.
are they looking at me as a collaborator?
Love this.
I'm so blessed and grateful to be here with this brokerage. I want you to understand, guys, with a cloud-based brokerage like us, like EXP, there's no hierarchy. There's no, all right, the broker is here and I'm here. Sorry, guys, we are level. The owner of EXP is on the same level. Glenn Sanford and I are on the same.
We're partners.
We're partners because we both have the same power. Okay. So there's no like manager and she's here and I'm here or he's here. And no, there's none of that. Guys, we all collaborate with each other. So everybody's on equal footing. So you get equity just by closing transactions. You now own part of the company. And I take part in, you're able to buy stock at EXP at a discount with the commissions that you get. And they take it automatically out of there. So now I'm doing pretty well with that. So, but the other part of that is this rev share component where because of the value that I've brought to agents that are out there, I always want everybody that wants to partner with me, I want them to do eminently better than I'm doing. Because I remember when it was like when I was, when I talk about this on my podcast, like when Aaron met me, I was literally living on my parents' couch. Like I was broke. I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And you want to talk about a serious depression? It wasn't when I was like 20 and 21. I was freaking 35. Okay. So you're in your mid 30s as a male, not able to produce outcomes that were favorable for me. And the third part of that is your ego takes a monstrous hit.
Yes.
Because you feel like a failure. I got in proximity to him and he wasn't at EXP at the time. And we start working together. And the next thing I know, the trajectory of where I went financially just started to go up. Now it didn't consistently, it was like this, then it kind of went like that. I lived on the plateau for a while.
Sure.
Then it dipped a bit. Then we had another growth hit. And that's generally how mastery will go. Okay. Because people get very impatient.
Yes.
When you see something that you want, it's like, all right, I get it. I'm doing it. Why isn't it here now?
It's a long game.
It's like going to the gym.
Yes.
I worked out a week. Why aren't I looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger? It's like, all right, guys, like it doesn't work that way. That's the plateau. So when you're trying to master something, most of your time is going to be on that plateau where it's like this. But then you're going to hit that growth spot. Boom, goes up a bit. Then you're going to be on that plateau for a while.
Right.
And I laugh because Aaron and I have had, I can't tell you how many conversations where I'm like if you used to go up to Aaron and be like, I don't know, bro, man, I don't know. That was my word for him for like, I can't tell you how many times he'd laugh and be like, bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And then he'd bring out all these things that I was doing that were really good that I forget.
Yeah.
Because my patience level is like this. I want it now. I want it now. Everybody who's out there that's thinking of getting and going with, you're coming out of real estate school, you got your license, you're like, where do I park my license? Really seriously, the brokerages are not interviewing you. You're interviewing them. What training do you offer? Yes, caps and splits are important, but what other ways can I earn income? That is a very, very important question. What other ways can I earn income with your brokerage other than me doing production and giving you part of my money? Because guys, when you are with traditional, brick and mortar brokerages, the split that you give them, you don't get any of that. You don't get it back. Okay. Like, so when you're giving them your money for just processing your transaction, because that's all really real estate companies are. You guys think about it. All they are like platforms to process transactions.
Mhm.
That's it.
Compliance.
Because who does it? Think about it. Who does the deals? The agents do the deals. All you're doing is bringing your deal to your brokerage and saying, hey, I want to get paid. Pay me. They're not doing anything else for you but that. So that's all these brokerages are. So compare them. Look at them. This awesome, phenomenal cloud-based brokerage happens to also allow you to take part in what's called rev share, where if an agent comes in with you and says, oh, I want to partner with you too.
Yeah, this is where we can invite our friends. So
I
even agents in our market who are in otherwise our competitors can now actually become our collaborators. And so just like the college invitation, we want to go to college where our friends are going to college.
Yes.
We can actually now invite them into the brokerage, into Elite Builders with us. And now they become our collaborators and we all share in each other's success.
Yes. I mean, so my downline is 46 agents, something like that, 47 agents. That doesn't mean just because they're in my downline, I'm here and they're here. No. We're our partners. It's equal. Their success is my success. And my success is their success. And if you look at life that way, for anybody that's standing here, you, the cameraman, person here, brother, like your success is mine and mine is yours. It doesn't matter where in life you are. It does not. We're all built out of the same cloth. The exterior might be different, but if you gut everybody open on the inside, we all have the same thing. Yes. We're all made of the same stuff. That's what I mean when I say, like, we just collaborate, guys. Like, there's so much money out there and time out there for everybody to make their piece of the pie.
Yes.
But these regular brokerages just look at us as we're competitors. We don't. It's not that way with us. We all collaborate. And I want to say this before we go. When you're coming out of, if you're new or even if you're an agent who's been practicing for a while, find a guide, somebody who's at or like they've already traveled the road that you're going. People that are successful want to share that success with you. You never find a rich hermit. They're not out there. They're always looking to share what they have with someone else. Yes. So find somebody is like, I found my superpower and I just give it away for free. Just give it.
Yes.
And agents, they feel it, they understand it, the authenticity of it, and then they want to come and partner with it because they know that, hey, he's doing what where I want to go. He's there. So let me go with him and just come along for the ride.
Yes.
It's like what Aaron said. It's like when you're walking, there's like money walking behind you. And the money's like, yeah, I'm with that guy. I am a huge, huge fan of modeling. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel.
Yes.
I don't want to do that. I want to find somebody who's doing what I want to do, get with them, get in proximity to them. Because if I wasn't in proximity to Aaron, none of this would be possible. So proximity, it's so powerful. It's power. Being around the right people is power. So if you're an agent who's new, if you're an agent who's producing, let's say you're doing 10 million, you want to get to 20. Just get around people. And the great thing about our organization is there's plenty of us that do that.
Yes.
Get around people like that. Partner with people like that can help you get to where you want to go by just adding ridiculous amounts of value to you. And your life will change. You literally are one relationship away from changing your life and changing your family tree for your life. I found it. Find who that is for you. God put you on earth for a reason.
Yes.
Okay. We are all creating machines. That's all human beings are, is we create. Everything that you have in your life, you thought it, then you spoke it, and then you actually did it. It's all related, guys. So all we are these giant creating machines. What are you on planet Earth for? And when you find it, just give it away for free. Your life will change.
Thank you. That is a beautiful, beautiful way to finish our time together this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.
Here at the Elite Builders, we're all about collaboration. There's agents from all different types of brokerages here. We're all here to learn with each other. It is a beautiful day out. We're staring at the Manhattan skyline. Prospecting Clinic. Looking forward to serving and helping everyone. Great to see y'all.